watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, Arthur's Network, and you are tuned in. I have a brand new friend by the name of, get this, Tom Sawyer. Not Samuel Clemens, but Tom Sawyer. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be on.
Good. I'm glad you're here. Well, guys, Tom is the author of In Rod We Trust. So this is a new book. Actually, he has two, and Rod We Trust number 2. And we're going to talk about these cool books because Tom and I, we share, I guess, what do you want to call it? We share a fun thing that we like doing, and which is remembering Twilight Zone. And
we're a couple of zoners.
Yeah, we are. We're zoners. That's it. TZers. There we go. And so, come on, Tom. Tell us how you got started with this.
Well, I've always been a big Twilight Zone Rod Serling fan. And ever since I was a kid, I wanted to write stories like he told on that show. I mean, the first episode I remember seeing was The Dummy. That scared the hell out of me. I mean, that was terrifying if you think about it. And, you know, I've always been a fan of that. I wanted to be a writer since I was probably 4 or 5 after seeing. I'm old enough to remember the first incarnation of the original Twilight Zone when it was on, not in reruns. And I just always wanted to tell stories like that. I just thought they were so deep, moving, powerful. And so after, when I got older, I wrote, my first book was a novel. And one day I got in a contest. And I wrote a story called The Beggar and the Devil, which is the first story in Rod We Trust. And it had a kind of a Twilight Zone finish to it. It was about a beggar making a deal for all his desires with the devil. And then I wrote another one, it was called Living Like a Pig. That was kind of Twilight Zone-ish, but I thought, one of these days I'm going to write a book and do a tribute to Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone. And, years went by and I finally decided, I'm going to sit down and do some stories and do a tribute to my writing idol and I guess kind of TV hero and writing hero, Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone. Hopefully I did him justice, but I came up with a bunch of stories that run the gamut of sci-fi, fantasy, horror, science fiction, and just plain twists and ironies. And so I did it. And my wife, who doesn't like horror, she read it and she goes, I think this is your best stuff. And she's brutally honest with my stuff. She'll tell me to change something or it stinks. But she goes, I really love a few of the stories in it. And so I know I had kind of a winner, but I had also had enough ideas to do. Originally, I was going to do a 7-book series, and then I scaled it back to 5. Then while I took 3 months off, waiting for my daughter's wedding last October to come up, I took it off from June to October. I had about 2 dozen more stories, so it's back to a 7-book series again.
Oh, wow.
And then in the meantime, after I finished those 2 books, I got some more stories that I was thinking of doing, call it Rods and Ends, that could be down in the future, that were the ones that I didn't use in Rod We Trust series.
Wow. But you know what? So these stories are like good enough to continue the saga. I wish we could get someone to just actually produce the screenplays and make this happen. This is so cool.
Well, I hope so. That'd be nice. That'd be really nice, because I'm a zoner. I go way back, and you got Trekkies for Star Trek and X-Filers for the X-Files and stuff. I figured we just call ourselves zoners, but I just hope somewhere up in heaven, Rod's smiling down, thinking, "Yeah, thanks for the tribute, kid. Even though I'm not a kid, but that was nice of you."
Absolutely.
Hopefully, I did him justice and gave him a fine tribute, because I'm a big fan. They had a sci-fi channel had a marathon of Twilight Zone episodes last night, yesterday, and it's like I caught And He's Alive and a couple others, and it's like, God, I love this series.
It's so funny because that's pretty much where my television is set, to just all the replays of Twilight Zone. So I'm thinking I'm learning all the scripts by now.
Oh, yeah.
That's how into it I am at these days.
And if I could be a fraction of a powerful writer as Rod Serling was, I think this is the most powerful episode I think he had was Death's Head Revisited, and the ending monologue to that about why they have the concentration camp still around. I mean, I think in a nutshell, he basically described the Holocaust in one paragraph, in a nutshell. I was like, wow, you had to sit through that, and wow, that was deep, that was powerful.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, it was hauntingly, as a writer, to me, it was haunting, and it's like that's kind of what Rod Serling's work was. It's haunting. It stays with you, and it no matter what times, it's always relevant.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite one. So guys who don't know who we're talking about Rod Serling here, and he was a phenomenal writer. His I want to say his shows were way before his time, because
Yes,
I see a lot of the things that he's doing, that we saw in those old Twilight Zone episodes came to pass. They're here right now. And especially with the equality and the racial um, justice type things, he spoke about that. You remember the one? I don't remember the names. You're good at the names, but I'm not good at the names. But do you remember the one where the town was black?
Yeah, I am the night, color me black.
That
Well,
one
they're gonna
was
hang the
like
guy.
so powerful, so powerful.
Yes.
Everyone hating and hating and hating, and that's why the world is dark. I mean, so that was, I think that was like right on point, like close to now.
Oh yeah. And given the times that it came out, I mean, you had a lot of those were bombastic times when that came out too. I mean, it was, it just, and it's still relevant. And I gotta agree with him. To me, that's, racism is the evil of our time. It needs, he was on point. He just, and it was a shame he had to go around do a Twilight Zone story to tell those stories, because that was the only way he could get around the censors and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, this stuff is, well, I think it always will be relevant as long as, the human animal exists. It's just, that's human nature sadly, in a lot of cases. I just hope that I can be a fraction as entertaining and that as he was and is and continues to be and will always be, really. So yeah, I just, that was very powerful, but then there's the ones that he touched on that tugged at your heartstrings, like in Praise of Pip, where the Jack Klugman's character is works for a loan shark or something like that, and his son's dying, and he's willing to give up his life for his kid. And I guess the romantic in me always liked the Charles Bronson, Elizabeth Taylor one, Elizabeth Montgomery one too, the two survivors from the war. So I think there's some that tug at your heartstrings in that. Or I know one, the trade-ins with the old couple wanting to trade in for younger bodies. That's one of my wife's favorites too. So, but yeah, he just had a way of, it didn't matter the subject matter, he could do it. I mean, I hope, like I said, that's my goal as a writer, is to, maybe not to emulate him, but at least show what he laid down so we can kind of learn from it and try and be a part to be, that way. So, got any other questions?
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, I see your internet died.
Our internet died completely over there. I'm in Texas and she's in Virginia, so
Okay.
I guess she'll get back with you, or I don't know if she's gonna get back on, but it's completely dead over there right now.
Okay. Oh.
So I was trying to text with her, but I guess it's not coming back on. I figured she would pop back on, but it hasn't came back on. So I'm gonna end up stopping it, but I guess she'll contact you, or if she gets it back up, I guess she'll give you a call back. I'm waiting for a reply myself.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
Reschedule, but I can talk to you too,
Okay. Well, I mean, I can edit all this out. I mean, I guess my question, what would be your favorite Twilight series, if anything?
boy, I think I got a group of more than just one because there were just different ones that if I'm writing, I'll watch certain ones when I'm hitting like a writer's block. But I still think the most powerful one I've seen was Death Said Revisited. But I have other favorites like Masks and Two, The Little People. I'm the Night Coloring Black is a good one, great one. I think, I'm trying to think, boy, what else ones? He's Alive, the hour episodes. On Thursday, we leave for home. Boy, it's just, there's just so many to choose from. I just don't think I can whittle it down to just one, in all honesty.
So what is your favorite out of book one?
Out of book one? Boy, I have a couple of them that I thought I did a good job on. And the first story, The Beggar and the Devil, was kind of a sentimental favorite because it's the first Twilight Zone story that I wrote. And the end one is called A Very Fine Specimen. That one I thought I had a nice twist, nice ironic twist in the end. But I think I got 3 or 4 of them. Mr. Handelman's Bicycle. Mm-hmm. This guy inherits a bicycle from his friend, and he says it's an old Schwinn Black Phantom from the 50s. Now they're valued about $4,000 in mint condition, and they both had one as kids, and the guy willed it to his friend when he died, and he said it'll take you back, and he's thinking memory-wise. He goes, no, this bike takes him back in time.
Wow.
And he gets younger. So it's that one, and my wife really likes that one too. And then there's another one that I wrote about. It's called Last Dance at the Stardust Ballroom. It's about a lady with dementia who's in an assisted living facility. Mm-hmm. And the one memory she has left is they'd go out dancing in the 50s to where they played music with her husband every weekend or once a month or something. When the kids, it was late, but they'd have their friends and family members there and they'd have a great time. And that's the one last thing she wants to do for her birthday is to go back there and relive that.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of those 4 if I had to be it on, because like I said, I don't think I just have one, and at least in book one, that's probably, it's kind of a tie.
Right. Okay. So you did book one. How can our readers and listeners and viewers purchase this book?
Either through Black Bed Sheet Books, where it's published, or on Amazon.
Okay. And how much does it retail?
I believe they might be offering discounts at Black Bed Sheet Books. Amazon, I think it's $15.95.
Okay.
I believe it is. It's $15.95.
Okay.
Or you can see me at some convention and I sell it to you for $15. Or both of them for $30. So I'd like to meet people in person. So that's
Well, I love the way you have everything packaged. I mean, this is, of course, my book is autographed, guys. You got to go see him.
I forgot to do that. I'm sorry.
No, my book is autographed.
Yeah. Oh, I did do that. Okay.
Yeah, my book is autographed.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I was about to say they have to go to a convention to see you to get this.
Yes. Yes.
So, you guys, let's talk about book number 2, and Rod We Trust 2. So now, what inspired you? Spin off from book 1, and you have how many series in here?
It's going to be a 7-book series. I had too many stories for just one, and I thought about putting them all, as many of them as possible, as one, but then that drives the price of the book up. And I'm kind of a firm believer. It's not about the money. It's like if I can sell a book as cheaply as possible, get more people to buy it and read it and like that, that's better. That's much better than, I like to keep it under $19.95 if I can, if my publishers can,
Yeah.
I just think that's $20 is too much, and somewhere in the $15 range, $17 range, preferably under 20. It's better.
I think it's worth it. To be honest, it's beautifully packaged, and
thank you.
It's just an adorable book. I mean, it's beautiful.
I give my publisher credit on that. He knows how to, Nicholas Grabowski does a great job of that. So
tell us about a couple of stories in this one.
Let's see. I think I have one called Tiny Dancer in that, and that's about a dancer explaining what she's going through to tell about her performing,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out it's there's more to the story than just her dancing. And the first story, The Vision, I wrote about is about some guys having a vision during World War I, and they see the future and what's going to happen with World War II coming, and they have a way to prevent it. But that proves to be a little tougher than they thought. And I also have a story that's I kind of wrote it kind of romantically, kind of thinking of my wife, but it's about two actors or movie actors, and they were going together, and they made like some cult classics way back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 20 something years later, they get back together and they're making a sequel to the one cult classic they made. And the one actor finds out his co-star, the woman he was in love with, is dying, and somebody gives them these, they call them like eternity rings or something like that, and they can make a wish on them, and they decide to make a special wish dealing with their films. So that one, I kind of like to end my books on a high note with either romantic or somewhat happy, or at least a memorable ending. And I have another story in there called 3 a.m. where a guy keeps having this dream where he wakes up at 3 a.m. and he's dreaming he's killing somebody.
Okay.
And, he ends up realizing what, after he's not sleeping well and everything, and he's just dreaming that he's killing somebody. And, well, the dreams come to prove it's a reality. Just not what. So I think, I wrote one story, and this goes back to a former friend of mine who kind of betrayed me in a way. And
that's why he's a former friend.
Yeah, that's why he's a former friend. And he proved to be a bank robber on top of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I wrote a story called Piece of Work. I didn't saying piece of shit, but piece of work would fit. And it's about a guy who's done things. He's ended up in jail twice, dealing drugs and stuff. And he decides, well, I'm going to go to church and see if I can't, somehow. And he goes that night to church after sitting in a bar, and there's different parables in the Bible that that one fits me real well. And then he keeps going back. Well, one of the guys in the church recognizes him from with his buddy, the main character's buddies would roll trunks and steal their money. And he remembers this guy. It's like, oh my God, that's the guy. I couldn't find him. He was in jail. So he decides to get even, and things don't exactly go when he's trying to be on the road to redemption. Things don't quite go his way. So, I mean, I was kind of looking back. I was like, well, some of the stories are pretty good. I'm happy with them. But then I kind of look at them. You get kind of critical being a writer. So I was like, well, maybe this isn't as good a sequel as I wanted. But then I kind of like, oh, yeah, this wasn't too bad. You go back and forth on it all the time.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, it sounds like you have a very, very great mind, that you got more books to kick out, and you're gonna keep it coming. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it seems like I was getting an idea, like, just to give you an idea, in one of the future books, I was driving by a road near a lake, and I seen a boat out in the water, and I came up with an idea for a Titanic story that's kind of Twilight Zone-ish. So, it kind of just, some things you just kind of look at something and it just hits you. I'm also a history buff, so I kind of look at ironies or tragedies in history, kind of think, well, what would happen if it was this way or this way? Just kind of
right.
That way.
Well, it's interesting. Like I said before, I mean, these are good stories, and I think it would be good if you shop them and see if you could get some screenplays out of them, because I would love to see episodes.
That's what I've been told. If they could do a resurgence of the another, I was hoping to get a hold of God, I can't think of the guy's name. Did Get Out when he was doing his? I was like,
Oh,
I wish it would have lasted. Pardon?
No, I remember the movie Get Out.
Yeah, the guy who directed it and produced it, and that I'm drawing a blank on his name. That's terrible of me. I'm sorry. It was a good
That's
movie.
okay. Oh, but we know who you're talking about. We've seen the movie.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd still have that incarnation of the Twilight Zone, because I was going to send him the books and say, hey man, I don't care if you don't pay me or anything. Just you can use one of these stories. Take the first one free, and then whatever you think the other ones are worth.
Yeah,
it'd be an honor just to have them on TV.
Absolutely. Well, I'm talking to producers and directors all the time. I think I'm gonna see if I can at least get your name out to someone, because I know you, on social media, so I can get in touch with you if I need to. And so I'll see if I can shop it a little bit for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think I write visually. I try to write visually where you could see it and picture it, and kind of, oh yeah, I could see that. That's that. And it's what's kind of nice is, as a writer, when I do conventions, 60 to 70% of my people that buy books from me are return customers.
That's great.
That's kind of building a following with some new, and it's like, do you have any science fiction stories? I go, nope. Well, I guess I'll have to write a short story collection of science fiction stories, or or you got any crime stories? So I guess I'll have to write some crime ones,
Yeah. Well, you need to keep pushing it. Like I said, you most definitely use the platforms we're on, and I will forward to try to get the book sold to help you out as much as I can.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Appreciate
that. We do. That's what we do. So, but anyway, tell people how they can purchase your book.
You can go on Amazon and purchase it, or through Black Bedsheet Books, which I think they, from time to time, they do offer discounts. It could be $1 or $2 or more. So
yeah,
so that's
worth it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they think so. I think I'm not gonna say I'm a great literature writing guy, but I think I'm an entertaining one. So if you want to be entertained, I think I can entertain you. I think that's the goal, the main goal. Somebody once said as a writer is to be entertaining and be where they want to keep reading you. So
yeah,
I try.
Absolutely.
I try to think what would interest me, and I try to think, well, okay, I think that'd be a good story to be entertaining, and let's tell it,
Right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for my gifts.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. And guys, go buy the book. If you need more information, hit me up on our social media platforms. You will be able to see this video on YouTube. If you have any questions, we're going to go back and meet Tom and see what this guy is all about. He's all about writing and making it happen. Right here, SKST Radio. Tom, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.